Hey y'all, and welcome to the Southland Piper. I'm your host Tim. Hope you're doing well today. Well, I recently purchased this Jobey Stromboli, I guess it's pronounced, pipe, and it's a little odd in places. So let's see about refinishing this pipe. Let's turn around to the bench and get started. All right, let's take a closer look. Um, that is what I would call a green stem. That's pretty green. The pipe overall, I don't believe that is any heat damage. The bowl looks really nice, so that may just be some surface scorching from something. But the bowl looks good. Um, the Stromboli series, I think that's what it is. Yeah, Stromboli. Very craggy, uneven uh, top rims and such. Uh, but yeah, it's a interesting look. Now, as far as any kind of issues, you can see the stem is really loose. However, um, in 1970, Jobey filed a patent for what they called their link uh, pipe system or stem system. And like I said, it's loose, but I'll pull this out. And we've got a tenon on the stumble and a mortise in the stem. This piece screws out. And I guess, they're thinking maybe that, a lot of times somebody will drop their pipe and you'll snap the tenon off. Well, this, you can replace the tenon. Um, but I did notice, let me get something, see how well y'all see it. It is pretty small, maybe a little bit larger than 1 millimeter, but it's a very small airway. So, let me put that back in. And as you start to put in the stem, it's fairly tight. And then as you go on in, then we're loose at this point. So anytime you use an expander on a tenon, it will start with the expansion at the very end is where you'll get most of your expansion. And I'm already nice and tight right there. So um, I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to heat it up a little bit and let it naturally expand. The whole thing hopefully will naturally expand, and then just take the heat off of it, let it cool. And it very well, a lot of times I'll see where a tenon will stay a little bit larger than it originally was just by simply heating it up and allowing it to cool without using any kind of expanders. I think I may have to come back and sand down the very first part of the tenon. We're still pretty good and tight right there. Just pushing it in as we go. And it's not too bad, but just as you get almost all the way seated together, it just wobbles out and it'll wobble out a little bit. So I'm gonna throw some heat on it first and see what happens then, and then try a couple other different things. I'm not sure how I want to tackle this one. I was looking around for something to help me kind of gauge what this draft hole is. Uh, this slides in, feels like it's a pretty good fit, and it is 1.92 millimeters. Now, the shaft on this, it's a little cutter bit, for grinding. Oops, sorry if I got out. This one will not fit, and it's at 2.3. Will not fit. This one at a little under 2. So somewhere between there is the fit. So you've got an airway that's pretty doggone small. I guess you could drill that out a little bit if you wanted a more open draft. Looks like there's enough material that you could modify that. But I'm going to leave it as is, see if I can just get it fitting better. And whoever ends up with this pipe, if they want to open that up a little bit, they can. Now, as I said, I was going to heat this up a little bit, but then I got to let it cool. So not a lot to see there. So it's simply just taking my heat gun and start heating that up. Hopefully I don't heat it to a point that it wants to bend on its under its own weight, maybe a little bit more vertical. And then we'll see what happens. All right, that really didn't do much. I wasn't real hopeful anyway. So I'm gonna go with, I'll back this out because I don't want to leave it seated way down in there because I'm about to hit it with a little super glue. I'll line up. That's a little loose. Line up. Be across like that. And then I'm not going to do much, and I've got one of these little fine points on or fine applicators on my glue. I'm just going to lay in just a little bit there, and just a little bit on that side. And I actually think that one's a little thick. And what I'll do is, now I'm not even using, I'm just using this almost like a brush. I can't say I've ever had to do this. So anyway, we're gonna learn together, I guess. All right, I'm gonna leave that alone. I think I'm not going to use my accelerant. I'm going to just let it cure naturally. All right, put it up on my rack for it to dry, and I'm expecting it to be a little too big. Hopefully it will be, and then I'll take a little sandpaper to it, and we'll see if we can't get it fitting better, and hopefully we don't throw alignment out. It's a little bit of a gamble. Shouldn't be out by much at all. If it is, it may not even be noticeable. So, all right, we'll check back after the glue's dry. All right, I've got the glue has dried that we put right in this area right here, and a little bit on the bottom, not much, but it appears to be good and dry. So let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, that feels pretty good. Yeah, I believe that fixed that issue. The alignment of the stem still looks good. So great. That worked out fine. I could try to go back and polish on that a little bit, but I don't really think it's that necessary. Like I said, you see a little bit up here on the top, but I think I'll leave it alone. So the next thing will be to take it in the house and a brush and some good old Murphy's and scrub this down. It won't take a lot. I think I mentioned this earlier when we first looked at the pipe. I took a little alcohol in this whole area, got a little dirt off. I took Q-tip with saliva and rubbed on it. Got more of it. I'm unsure that I want to sand this whole area. I could try to, if I only sand part of it, then I'm probably going to have a differentiate as far as coloration. Let me see how it all looks after I wash it down with the Murphy's, and we'll make a final decision on whether to sand this area or not. The pipe cleaned up pretty well. Now you can really see that spot there. So what I'm gonna do is I just got a scrap piece of this is some 600. I usually will use 320, but I just want to see if I can lighten this up with the 6. All the nomenclature is down on this part. There's nothing that I can see down here. So, and the whole pipe, other than this, will go to a black. Oops, sorry if I got out of frame a little bit. I might have to hit that spot with, let's get there. May go back to a 320, hit that spot. I'm just trying to be fairly gentle with it. All right. Let's not be so gentle this time. Even if I don't totally remove it, uh, lightened will be okay, and then I'll give this whole area just a light brush, and we'll end up seeing that okay. I think I'm gonna just stop right there. This will get a tan or a light brown on the area, and everything else will go to black. I've got the stem away from the stumble a little bit. No good reason to get the dye on the stem. I'm gonna start with this black, um, and then I'm gonna go. I have to go reach it. I'm gonna try this tan. I can always go darker on this under flat side. I guess it'd be a sitter. So anyway, just a twisted pipe cleaner as an applicator. And I'm going to try to stay off of that a little bit. We'll see how it looks. Because all of a sudden, do I want to leave that band a lighter color? But it looks like it was initially black. So, yeah, just we'll throw it on there and see what we think. And may make some changes. I don't have to be perfectly on those areas, that are flat. Well, I need to stay in frame, don't I? Flattened out. Those areas can be sanded, or we may just do something different. Anyway, let me get this first coat on. Maybe put a couple on there. Well, I'm finished applying the stain. I think that will be fine. Um, I like rusticated pipes. I prefer sandblasted, um, except when it comes to buffing. Then I prefer a smooth pipe. So I'm going to attempt to, buff this up just with the regular Carnauba wax in my buffer, and we'll have to see how that goes. I may have to, and I've mentioned it before, this little beeswax and back out of it, beeswax and olive oil mixture. Sometimes I need to use that on rusticated pipes to get some of the areas, but we'll try the Carnauba wax next. Let me go back in. Now the stem, haven't really done anything to stem yet. I'm gonna do some light sanding on it. There's no really bad tooth marks. You could actually buff all this out, but it would take a little while. So I'm gonna get a little head start and do a little sanding on it. The stem is sanded down. I think we got about everything we need to get. And then I will start with my Tripoli compound and then move on to the white diamond compound. And then after I've finished with the stem, I'll start buffing on the pipe itself. It almost has a fairly nice finish as it is, but it'll pop a little bit better once we're done with the buffing. I did not end up using my made up solution, and it stays out here in my shop where I let it get pretty warm during the days and then turn on the air conditioning in the evenings. But it looks like it's wanting to separate a little bit. I may have to take it inside the main house and solidify again a little bit more. However, I did not use it on the pipe. All I used was Carnauba wax. And so here we are. Stem, I think, turned out really well. We can actually now see the nomenclature better. That turned out really nice. That spot, really don't see much of that spot. The bowl, which was just very sound, it's got a little uh, carbon in it. I've got some food grade activated charcoal that I will mix with a little water and paint the interior. And it's mainly just for aesthetics, or it is for aesthetics. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think the pipe turned out really nice. So thank you for sharing your time with me today, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.